Hello and welcome back to the Motorsport Better podcast. I'm your host Didi, and joining me today once again is my friend and your co-host Vedant. On this episode, we'll be talking about the Indycar season finale at Laguna Seca. So let's grab some chai, take our seats, ready your opinions, and dive right into the conversation. Hello Vedant. No surprises here. Will Parr, takes his second IndyCar championship. I mean, especially after qualifying, like after Saturday, there were absolutely no questions that Will Power wouldn't take the championship away with him on Sunday, as long as he did not have a mechanical DNF or something went wrong at turn two on lap one.
Yeah,
As long as he kept his nose clean, didn't go too hard. It, given like how the season, came to a crescendo, it was very anticlimactic in that way.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, as we were talking about, uh, like Willpower had to win it. Had Willpower not won it, it would have been a huge. It would have been a than Willpower winning it. Because for Willpower to not win it, it would have been a big shake-up and a very like a race of attrition of sorts. But yeah, Willpower secures that championship and secures his name in the IndyCar fable.
Once again, once again, yeah. I mean, quite disappointing in the way the title challenge sort of fell apart during qualifying and somewhat in the race. I mean, Joseph Newgarden had a great race starting from 25th and finishing second, but just one mistake in qualifying cost him a shot at the championship, and then talking about qualifying, what I want to talk about now I remember about it is Scott Dixon and Marcus Ericsson. Marcus Ericsson, so it was, I think, Group 1, and Marcus Ericsson basically denied Scott Dixon a berth in the Fast 12. I am not sure why it happened. Marcus Ericsson was the last one to cross the line. Scott Dixon had already put in his time. He was sixth, and Marcus Ericsson bumped him as he crossed the line, being the last one to cross the finishing line in qualifying. And I was like, why did Chip Ganassi not tell him to slow down? Because Penske clearly going into the weekend, Scott McLaughlin and Joseph Newgarden said, hey, depending on the situation, we want to win it as a team. Whatever the situation is, we are going to support the
Yep.
topmost driver, which was Will Power in this case, right? We heard that from Scotty Mack especially over and over again. But yeah, I mean, I think this loss more than anything else, not being able to challenge for it. I think it comes down to what Chip Ganassi Racing did on Saturday in qualifying, and that is allowing Marcus Ericsson to bump Scott Dixon and deny him a berth in Fast 12. And I was sort of like, in my head, I was screaming at the screen. I'm like, why is this happening? There is definitely not a chance that Marcus Ericsson is going to take this away. And I think that was like the biggest reason, we didn't see a actual challenge from Chip Ganassi Racing and Scott Dixon on Sunday. And for someone who's made up places, using strategy and a little bit of overtaking, starting from mid pack to like top five the entire season, Scott Dixon didn't go anywhere in the final race. He was stuck in the mid pack for more than half the race. I don't even remember where he finished anymore. But yeah, I mean, it was so surprising to see, Scott Dixon not moving up the timing screen, the timing tower at all during the first
Yeah,
half of the race.
absolutely.
He
I
was just
mean,
stuck in
I mean,
13th.
yeah, as you said, you would expect Scott Dixon to climb up and given his performances throughout the season, right? But yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened there, but either way, the title challenge was all but over for them for Chip Ganassi. For but yeah,
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, Chip Ganassi was the team to beat, until the last 4 or 5 races of the season, especially after the way, they went about racing at the 500 this year. But given the results, Penske 1, 2, and 4, Scotty Mack could have been third, not very far away, And genuinely, after this season, I am a fan of the Thirsty Three, camp now. Like, I want to see Scott McLaughlin win the IndyCar series sooner rather than later. And I just can't wait to see him on track again. It's just really exciting to see him not just on track but even off track. There are a lot of like nice. I mean, everybody's nice, but like there's a lot of nice personalities in the IndyCar paddock. But I don't think there's anyone as as nice and as happy as Scott McLaughlin, regardless of what the situation is. And it's somewhat like being the Daniel Ricciardo of the F1 paddock. He's always got a smile. He's always looking
Yeah,
ahead to things, and
absolutely.
it's just
And I
awesome to
mean,
like have him
the
in
way he
in
has gone
this in
about
this
his
paddock.
2 seasons in IndyCar, the like not just the intensity and the professionalism, but as you said, the personality that he has been throughout the IndyCar paddock, throughout the IndyCar seasons, has been great. And of course, I mean, as you said, exactly as you said, everyone is a fan of Daniel Ricciardo in Formula One, right? Almost everyone, maybe. And I think similarly in IndyCar, almost everyone would be a fan of Scotty Max, Scotty Mac. And I think every fan has their own favorite driver to root for the championship, but I don't think anyone would be upset if Scott McLaughlin won the championship next year or whenever.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And yeah, I think even midway through the season, I thought CGR had the best lineup because it seemed that they were the most consistent bringing home the results. But yeah, I mean, a 1-2 and 4 is just undeniable on any stat sheet. It was almost a 1-2-3. If I'm pretty sure if it was a 1-2-3 at the end of the
Yeah,
race, like in
and
the championship standings, we would have
yeah,
seen some sort
absolutely.
of a
And
parade
I
from
mean, the
from
top
the
two,
Penske
Will
cars
Parr and Joseph Newgarden, are
around Laguna Seca.
IndyCar veterans, basically, right? They are the top dogs in IndyCar. But for Scott McLaughlin to come at
Yeah.
his best this season, not, I mean, he was not at his best. He had some off weekends. He had some, he was still getting to grips at some portions of the IndyCar circus. But the way his season went, he finished fourth in the championship. I think he just made uh like he just came good this year, and I can't wait, and I'm sure you can't as well. Wait for next year to see like Scott McLaughlin in his third full season, and who knows what he can do that then. Yeah.
Yes, somehow 17 is not enough races for a racing season.
Yeah.
Like we talk about Formula One and we say 23 is a lot of races, and it's just six less. I mean, Formula One was at 17 just a few years ago, and the season has already ended for IndyCar, which is quite weird in a way. But let's talk about the other CGR driver, and now announced for 2023, Alex Pillar. What a race he had! Came. I think he started in 11th position and came through the field to take the win in an absolutely dominating fashion, and you could almost see like his like the announcement that he would sign with Chip Ganassi Racing going forward for at least next year was there because of Chip Ganassi's tweet himself. Boom! Alex Pillow wins at the race at Laguna Seca or something like that. So it was quite obvious,
Yep.
that the follow up tweet was right about there that Alex Pillow will continue with CGR. But the good news is he will still be testing with McLaren. I think he's already there. He was supposed to test today at Barcelona. So good news all around from him, and I'm quite happy that he stuck with CGR. And like I said, if
Yeah,
I were
absolutely.
him,
And
I
it
would probably stick
also
with CGR
allows
until
McLaren to,
McLaren can have a more
you know,
or like provide a more
keep
concrete
hold of
future
all
plan
their
on
IndyCar drivers.
his way to
I
F1.
mean,
Let's
Pato
say.
Award was obviously already there, and we have Alexander Rossi, and of course Felix Rosenqvist will stay at McLaren, and because Felix had a mixed bag season, but he still performed at a level that was expected of him. Yeah, so that makes sense. Yeah, yeah, and I mean Felix
I mean,
Rosenqvist has been qualifying
in the
brilliantly
championship standings
in
at
that
the end of the day,
McLaren.
Felix is right
He
behind
and
Pato
McLaren
Award.
just need to get their race pace sorted.
So
But
comparatively,
the
compared to
the way
last
they
year,
have
he had
been
a great
qualifying,
season this year. Yeah.
especially in the middle of the season, was just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, talking about McLaren, I'm still not convinced that Alexander Rossi was the right signing for them. Yes, he's a veteran. Yes, he's been in the sport for a long time, and yes, he had a better season than the last 5 years. He had his best season in the last 5 years, probably this year. But I'm still not convinced that Alexander Rossi was the right signing for
Yeah,
McLaren
absolutely. I
moving
mean,
forward. But we'll see
they
how
are
it
a
plays
team
out.
on
They're
the
a great team,
up,
and it won't be a
and they
surprise that
want to
any
continue
driver
that.
who joins that
I
team
mean,
will have great
there
results,
is no harm in
regardless of
getting
where they're
Rossi
coming from or
into
what
that
season
fold,
they've
right?
had in the past.
So yeah, let's see how it shapes up next year.
Yeah. Now let's talk about rookie of the year. Christian Lungard took rookie of the year in what was not looking great for him until 20-25 laps into the race. Christian Lungard didn't get into the fast six, even the fast 12, I believe. I think he started 13th or 14th, and then I think he started 14th, and then David Malukas qualified in the top six. I believe, or just seventh, or just whatever. He was way ahead, in qualifying than compared to Christian Lungard. I don't remember the stats anymore, but regardless, right? And David Malukas was having a much better race than Christian Lungard until, for some reason, Malukas' pit, his team decided to pit him on scuffed alternate tires for some reason, and he just couldn't make it work, and I had to pit again for a new set of primaries, and
Yeah.
that is essentially the difference between Malukas winning the Rookie of the Year championship versus Christian Lungard winning Rookie of the Year championship. And yes, I wanted Christian Lungard to win the Rookie of the Year championship just because we've seen him race in F2 a year prior, but it was so close. And it was so disheartening uh, to see Malukas not winning because of a strategy call and not because of what is happening on the racetrack. Because
Yep.
honestly,
Yep.
like, I did want to see even that battle go down to the absolute wire and hopefully see both of them, fight it out on track. Because literally 5 points, they could have been tied and it would have been decided by whoever finished highest most number of times. And they could have been tied on points if they finished, maybe just the right number of positions away. And it's not a huge stretch given their performances this season. So a little bit disheartening, but
Yeah,
congrats
absolutely.
to
I
Christian
think
Lungard. And it is also
Christian Lundgaard and
noteworthy
David
that both
Malukas.
of them, I
I think
think,
this surprised
had a
everybody,
better
right?
point scoring
Everyone
season
was
than
hoping to see
Scott
Kyle
McLaughlin and
Kirkwood
I'm
get
for
a
sure
great
Roman
season
Grosjean
from
last year
his
as rookies.
Indy Lights winning. Like he won Indy Lights last year, so everyone was expected to see him perform at the best and get the Rookie of the Year. But I think Christian Lundgaard and David Malukas did pretty well. Even Callum Ayalot, who got who started on the front row at Laguna Seca, had a better season than Kyle Kirkwood. And but Christian Callum Ayalot had a great season himself, right? And hopefully they can get a second car for next year. And yeah,
I mean, yeah, they have announced the second car, number 78, at Juncos Hollinger Racing for next year. And yeah, I mean, Callum Islet, given the resources, obviously it's not a big team. It doesn't have all the resources like
yeah,
Andretti or even like RLL or whatever. But I think they made the most of it. Yes, we were expecting a little bit more from Callum Islet himself, but I mean, I don't think it was disappointing in any way whatsoever. But let's talk about Andretti now. So Alexander Rossi is leaving Andretti for McLaren.
they have
Colton
signed Kyle
Herta
Kirk.
might be leaving Andretti for an opportunity in F1, possibly. So the only two full-time drivers that they have is Roman Grosjean at the moment and Devlin Francesco.
Yeah,
What is? Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, that's Kyle Kirkwood. So three, right? Two of them are
yeah,
basically rookies. they did their rookie season together. Roman Grosjean is also a rookie in IndyCar, and he hasn't had a great year this year compared to last year, and he hasn't gotten along well with people in the paddock really, unfortunately this year. So it's a very mixed bag for Andretti if Colton Herta does not continue with them next year. What is also surprising to me is
Yeah,
that
I mean, I
Andretti
think
didn't
Andretti were assuming that Colton
sign
Herta will
Colton
stay
Herta
with
earlier
them
in the season. It's almost like,
because,
the
like,
whole
I don't
Oscar
think anyone
Piastri and
expected Colton
Alpine
Herta's
situation in a
name
way.
to come
And
up
it's just
in
surprising
that
that Colton Herta is
conversation
a
in
free
Formula
agent
One.
at the end of the year.
And even especially given the fact that McLaren had their own plans, and Colton Herta's name has come up at Alpha Tauri of all places, right? So I think no one was expecting that, and Andretti themselves would have been pretty confident that
Yeah.
Colton stays with them for next year. So on behalf, yeah, it's on behalf of Red Bull so that he can test for AlphaTauri. It's a bit of a political move or something, but yeah.
Yeah, but now Alpine has extended an offer to Colton to test with them. I think it's supposed to be next week.
Andretti being a rookie team, yep, that's fun.
Yeah, I mean, whatever it is, so yeah, I mean, Colton might not be with Andretti, and they'll find themselves as a
Yeah,
rookie team basically, if that happens, which is quite concerning, and especially given the fact that Andretti were the fourth or fifth best team this year.
yeah.
They weren't even the third best team, which they usually are,
No, I was just saying
because
maybe our
because
maybe the IndyCar
McLaren
commentator
beat
James
them
Hinchcliffe will
quite
make a
soundly.
comeback. I
So
don't
yeah,
know.
quite a surprise
because
there for
because we don't
from
have any
Andretti,
more drivers apart from other rookies, right?
and that's
Who,
really
who
about
will
it.
be coming up from
Sorry, go ahead.
Indy Lights. Yeah, yeah,
Maybe. Hey, maybe Kyle Busch will get a full time seat like Jimmy Johnson did instead of just a 500 drive. Uh, but yeah, let's see what happens. And that's all really from my side. Without anything else that you want to talk about before we wrap this up, it's been a long IndyCar season. It's been great to follow it with you. And I mean, I wish this went on a little bit longer. I mean, this is really the last proper championship fight we'll see this year. F1 is wrapped up. In my opinion, it's if someone told me that the F1 fight there is a championship fight there, I would point him to Bruno Michel's comment about F2 and show him how that ended.
yeah.
Show that person how that ended. But yeah, I mean, I think the only other championship fight we might be left with is in MotoGP,
I
really,
mean, I think even
in
VEC
like the
is
top
still
level,
open in
racing
terms
series. I'm
of
not
the
talking
points
about
position, but
rally and
I'll
all of that stuff.
yeah,
That's a little
whatever.
hard to follow. But talking about road racing, that might be the only one that's
Yeah,
really
yeah,
left open on the highest level.
yeah. No, no, no. So, I mean, it was absolutely a pleasure to follow IndyCar throughout the season for the first time, right? And to have a
But
championship
it's a
like
weird
this,
season in WEC though, right?
uh,
With
I
they're
mean,
all they're still
obviously I
trying to
followed
get the
it last
BOP
season
right.
as well,
Anyway,
somewhat,
anyway,
and
this is
it was
about
a great
IndyCar.
championship
So
then.
anything else you want to
I
talk
followed
about
it this
IndyCar?
season. It has been a great championship this season as well, and to I think see especially people like Joseph Newgarden, no, sorry, not Joseph Newgarden, but Scott McLaughlin and Marcus Ericsson come up and shine in on their own right has been incredible. But yeah, it's all about yeah, yeah, the championship absolutely.
It was the year of the red. The Husky Chocolate red car won won the 500, and the Verizon red car won the championship with just one other win, with just one win under his belt for Will Power. But yeah, thank you, Vedant, once again. And as always, we're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to change up the format of the podcast moving forward after this week. But as always, we'll be here to answer the most important questions in motorsport. Anyway, thank you once again, and we'll catch you on the next one.